Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery with IIMFL and Smart Money Alliance. It's my pleasure to visit with you this morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, November 4th at 7:59 a.m. Central. Most Mondays through Fridays, most weekdays at this time, we hop on the Zoom bridge and talk with our distribution partners. We talk shop, we talk strategy, we help overcome barriers and challenges. And we have different types of distribution partners, as you probably know. We have affiliates, free and easy to be an affiliate. Who wouldn't want to be an affiliate? Help people and earn income. Secondly, we have our financial literacy educators. Those are the crucial professionals that are working with our clients, mentoring them over a 4-week process and helping them set up their key person policies. And we also have joint venture partners as well as branch managers. And our branch managers really have evolved into incubator managers. So we've opened our first incubator here and we're growing quickly. And we're going to be opening incubators across the country, one in New Jersey with Will here soon, and a number of other markets with others of you that have expressed interest in running an incubator in your community collaboratively. Now, each day we typically have a topic, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. So let's talk about credibility for a second. And we've talked about how the incubator helps address some of the credibility factors that some small businesses, especially early stage, may not have, such as a commercial address, a business phone number, a website, and so forth. Always, always, always remember that different sources of capital have different underwriting criteria. There's not a universal set of you must have this to get funded. It's actually much more variable than that. Different sources of capital have different underwriting criteria. Well, dovetailing into today's topic, which you see here on the screen, we love business credit based off the EIN. So it separates personal and business. And so that's the perfect world. But you know what? There are some sources of capital that do look at personal credit scores of the owner or owners as part of the underwriting criteria. You can't change that. I can't change that. That's the way that it is. So what do we do if we have a client that enrolls and they have less than optimal personal credit? Well, we really have two choices, don't we? We either need to steer completely clear of sources of capital that use personal credit as part of the underwriting, because if their personal credit is challenged, that could be an obstacle. Or we need to do something to help them get more optimal personal credit. Credit repair is not who we are, what we do, and I've been around credit repair for over a decade, and actually I've worked for a couple credit repair companies. And so, there's just all kinds of different scenarios of promises and expectations and sometimes missed expectations of what happens within the whole credit repair space. So we certainly are not going to get into credit repair. What we're going to focus on is giving a quick credit boost to our clients that need higher personal scores to open up more access to capital. I'm going to go through how that works. It's painfully simple. And it's not credit repair. Though some of you are involved with credit repair. That's great. You know more than we do, and keep doing what you're doing. Some of you are not involved with credit repair. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to talk about getting a credit boost. Okay. So with that, how do we get a credit boost? We remove negative and we add positive. And if we do that in a certain way, we can boost scores often by 100 or more points quickly. No magic, nothing gray. Let's just go through specifically how it works and how you get paid from it. And then we'll answer your questions, of course. Well, who would want a credit boost? That's assuming that they're an entrepreneur wanting to raise capital. Again, we said not all sources of capital underwrite off of personal credit, But if they're wanting to pursue a type of capital that does underwrite off of personal credit, then this becomes very relevant. Like an SBA loan, for example. SBA loans use a different credit scoring algorithm called SBSS, Sam Bravo Sam Sam, SBSS. And that incorporates business creditworthiness, which we help them build. And it also does look to a certain degree at personal credit. So who should participate? We see a lot of clients that come to us with a thin file. Often what that means is they've gone through some sort of sweep program or some sort of drastic credit repair where it took nearly everything off. And so now it just doesn't look right. You know, here's a grown man or woman that hardly has any trade lines. Now, you can't just take negative away and have a high credit score. It does not work that way. So if you have a real thin credit file, that can be a barrier to accessing capital. And so that would be one category of folks that could benefit. In general, if their scores are below 680, then we'd like to get it above 680. Now, credit scores go much higher than 680. And of course, if we're in the 700s, it's even better. But in general, if we're below 680, we should be thinking to ourselves, this is a problem that I need to have some plan to solve. And they may already have a plan to solve it, and that's fine. You know, if it's not broke, we're not going to fix it. But in many cases, we'll see people that come to us with lower than 680 credit scores that we could possibly use the credit boost, resolve that, and get them more access to capital. And then the third category, and this can be somewhat overlapping, people that are now looking to build or rebuild their profiles, their credit files. Okay, so now what we said is we're going to do two things in the credit boost. We're going to remove derogatory and we're going to add positive. So let's talk briefly about each of those. The way that we're removing derogatory, and again, we're not credit repair, so don't label us as that, is we're working with attorneys. Why would we want to work with attorneys? Because attorneys understand the laws, and when we're trying to rapidly remove derogatory items, it's going to be based upon contesting certain federal consumer protection laws. There's a subset of those laws that give greater protection to individuals who have been a victim of identity theft. So that means that some or all of the derogatory items on their credit report aren't their fault, shouldn't be reported. So there's a different process there. So what we're doing is working with a group of attorneys that will leverage those consumer protection laws and assist in rapid removal, or at least challenging, of those derogatory listings. It's not rocket science. Now, what we need to concurrently do, and this is hugely important, is we need to be building positive credit. Now, does everyone need more positive credit? Not necessarily, but that's often a barrier that we're seeing when we're reviewing credit profiles of our clients that are looking for a business capital raise. In many cases, it's not just possibly some derogatories. It's very often that they've not done enough to strengthen their positive credit. We have a very specific two-step process that we use. We've been testing it. It works. We had our conference call this morning, so here we are rolling it out. The first thing that we're going to do is get, and both of these are non-secured. So could you go to your bank and get a secured credit card to help build revolving credit? Of course. That's a little bit expensive because you're going to put up $1 for every dollar that you want to have secured. And if it's not a larger limit, it often doesn't have the same impact. But the point is, this is a non-secured, 0% interest personal loan. Now here you're start yelling at me saying, well, Tom, this is all about business credit and business funding. Why are you talking about personal loans? Well, because right now we're talking about a boost of personal credit. We will certainly help you boost your business credit with nothing that's involved on this screen. It's a much different process, right? Madison here in our office works with our clients to build their business credit profile with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, Equifax Business, and so forth. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. If we want to build or boost our personal credit, then of course we need to have positive payment experiences. So we just secured a preferred lender that will do, yes, a non-secured 0% interest personal loan. Now, when you see this, I don't want your mind racing off in the wrong direction saying, oh, here comes my capital raise, I'll just do it through this. No. This is meant specifically for this purpose of the credit boost. So no, we're not going to go try to get $100,000 0% personal loan. That's not what we're doing. We're trying to get a 0% non-secured personal loan to start creating positive payment history for clients that need that. Secondly, we're going to immediately turn around after the first is open, immediately go open a second trade line that's also non-secured, no minimum credit score needed, through a different preferred lender. So we're going to add 2 trade lines almost instantly that will start reporting pretty quickly. And so now we're working 2 different directions, right? Let's think about weight loss, right? And I'm probably a good example. So if I wanted to lose weight, I probably should go exercise. So add muscle, add activity to increase caloric burn. And I probably should also reduce the amount of food intake or be more cautious. So we're working both sides of the equation to generate meaningful results. What are the results that we would expect? We anticipate, and from our testing, we expect reasonably 100-point increase very quickly within 30 to 60 days. I know everyone wants instant, but this isn't instant mashed potatoes. We have to work with the cycles of credit reporting. Then we do anticipate another boost in that next reporting cycle, the next 30 to 60 days. And then lastly, dependent upon current circumstances, which really means how much derogatory information that needs to be addressed, that could be even more. But just by adding positive, the right type of primary trade lines can have a very significant impact in boosting credit scores and access to capital. Is it free? No, it is not free. There's a fee of $25 a month for the client. Technically, it's month to month. And then secondly, they're going to pay $10 for every point of credit improvement that we've generated. And so that's afterwards though. So we'll pull reports monthly and we'll say, oh, great, we added X points to your score. Then we're going to invoice them at $10 per point increased. We share that 50-50 with you. So when you're referring clients in, now, of course, in general, this is going to be used for our current small business clients, but individuals could enroll as well. But that's not really our focus. Our focus is what can we do to better increase access to capital of small businesses, especially when personal credit is a barrier. So with that being said, that's my spiel. Now I want to start answering your questions about this to make sure that you understand why we're doing it, what it is, and how it works. So we're going to use the Q&A function within Zoom, kind of like a chat box, just like we do most sessions. And I want to hear from you. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Do you think it's not needed? Do you think that all the small businesses you talk to already have personal credit figured out and that's not a barrier? Because that's not my experience, but that may be yours. So Annette, Anthony, Barry, Brian, Charlotte, Christopher, Clarissa, Kwong, Daniel, Glenn, Joseph, Monique, Pauline, Robert, Tony, Travis, Will, and others. I want your feedback on this. So fire away. Constructive criticism is welcome. How would you have built it different to solve this? Some of you are in the credit repair space. We do not want to compete with you. You keep doing what you do with just credit repair on a high level. You're smarter than us at all of that. You're better than us at all of that. What we just want to do is get a credit boost to the client so we accelerate their access to capital. All right, so Robert says he likes it. Thank you, Robert. Anthony says definitely needed, and I agree. It's needed. And he asked how soon can it start, and we'll be ready to start enrolling people today. We're recording this, and we'll get this announcement out, and it'll be ready to roll today. Tony says it's interesting, the 0% credit line. And no, the 0%, well, and actually this isn't a credit line. This is installment, and this is revolving, because as we all know, and I didn't mention, we all probably should or likely do know, that a good healthy credit mix impacts our access to capital. So we're adding an installment loan and a revolving account. I should have mentioned that. But technically, so Tony's asking, do they have to keep going with the $25 a month for a certain period of time? And the answer is technically no. I guess they could do it just for 1 month, but the concept is to give us enough time to get the desired results. We do anticipate seeing results in the first 30 to 60 days. I so wish that I could just promise you that within 30 days we'll see an improvement, but the way that reporting timelines work, that may be too ambitious. But within 60 days, most definitely, we should see a boost in scores. Daniel asked a good question, and I didn't clarify that. Do people have to use both of these trade lines? If they're going to participate in the program, typically yes. And the reason for that, Daniel, is that we want to boost their score as much as possible, and adding an installment and adding a revolving is almost always going to have a profound effect. And then also, this is how you're paid, Daniel. If we help them boost their score by 100 points, you've just made $500, right? Which is very fair. They're not paying anything advance for credit repair. The $25 a month is really just more of an admin fee just to be able to maintain them as a client. So we do want to have the maximum impact, frankly, in the shortest amount of time possible. So they would need to do both. Thank you, Daniel, for asking that. Robert asked, will the EIN not be used exclusively? Well, Robert, what we're talking about here has nothing to do with EIN and EIN-based financing. What did we say? Some sources of business capital use personal credit. This is a strategy to boost personal credit when that applies. We're not talking anything about EIN or business credit in this conversation. Is that part of what we do? Of course, but it's not part of this conversation. It's so important that you separate the two different credit profiles. Your business has a credit profile. The business owner or owners have a profile. Travis says he thinks it's needed. Great, thank you. And again, I think you're going to like it. There's a lot of people with jacked up credit, and frankly, even if they're not looking for a business capital raise, in general, our expectation, and we'll measure and be accountable, but we're looking for a 100-point increase in that first 30 to 60 days. Well, that's $500 in your pocket using that math. So it's very much worth it for you to help spread the word. But again, it was really designed to be a tool or a resource within our entrepreneurial capital raise, because we're seeing some problems. So Clarissa's asking about where they'll sign up at, and Robert's asking about a flyer. So yeah, we'll have resources available here soon. So we'll release this training video and then point you in the right direction. Pauline says seems to be a good program for small businesses and individuals. Yeah, thank you. I agree. Mr. Reeves says, great concept. Thank you, sir. On this personal loan, Travis is asking a question, so I'm going to get back at it. I do not want anyone to look at this personal loan and saying, oh, this is an important part of my capital raise. I don't care if they end up getting a big personal loan or a little personal loan. That's frankly irrelevant. What we're trying to do is establish positive payment history to boost their credit profile. So I know it's a personal loan, but I don't want you thinking about dollar signs. I don't want you to think about this as being part of their capital raise. Imagine that it's $1 personal loan. Of course, it's not going to be $1, but just imagine it's $1. So it's not going to help at all towards their capital raise, but it's designed to help their credit profile. That's the mindset here. Has a specific purpose. So I think that answers Tony's question as well. And Clarissa's right. Yeah. So this is going to be an installment loan. This is going to be a store revolving account, not a MasterCard, not a Visa. Now we have that business MasterCard under the EIN, but that's a separate conversation. All right, let's see. Anyone else have any questions on why this is relevant? And again, this is another resource to help improve access to capital. The more credibility factors that an applicant has, the more choices or options for capital they'll have access to, and the bigger their capital raise. Let's use two examples. So let's take someone that has a 680 credit, well, we'll say 675 credit score, which isn't terrible, but it's not where it needs to be, versus someone that has a 725. All other factors being considered, let's say both of them get approved for a business loan. Which one do you think will get a bigger business loan? The person with the higher personal credit score, if that's part of the algorithm, because they're less risky. A bank or a lender would be foolish to lend as much money to someone that's more risky as they do to someone that's less risky. Well, how do we become less risky? We have a stronger personal credit profile. So again, I don't want you to think that this is changing anything. We want to focus as much as possible separating EIN from personal, business credit from personal credit. But this is a resource that may help some. Christopher asked if the capital raise is done on the personal profile. Yes, yeah. So our agreement with you, Mr. Reeves, is you're going to receive, if you're an affiliate, 1 point of any capital raises of any nature. And then if you're a branch manager or joint venture partner, then of course we're doing a 50-50 split. All right, let's see here. Okay, and Tony's back to this here. If they ask how big the personal loan's going to be, the answer, let's just say, we don't know. It'll depend, but it's not about the amount of the personal loan that matters. It's about adding a trade line with positive payment history. Now, if you have someone that has plenty of positive payment history, they're not eligible for this. These aren't the right types of trade lines to pursue for someone that has a strong credit profile. This is someone that fits in these three categories. So this is not about the cash received. This is about adding primary trade lines. Kwong asked if he were to apply for new credit cards, would it help boost your personal credit scores? Well, possibly. I mean, when you apply for credit, you're typically going to have an inquiry. We will not have an inquiry, for example, on adding the new trade line, but there's not a generic answer. What we know is if we want to have an ideal credit profile, Kwong, we should have 3 to 5 revolving accounts with low balances with perfect payment history. Clarissa asks, will the client have to pay 6%? Well, it depends. If they're in standalone, if they're just going to do credit boost by itself, they're not part of our access to capital or capital ready program, then this is it. This is the entire fee structure. But you're right, Clarissa, if they're in one of our capital raise programs, then all types of capital raised during that program would have the 6% applied to it, which you would be paid off of. So that's an important differentiator. Joseph asked, does a client have to ask for this? Well, we already do soft credit pulls in week 2 of the 4-week curriculum as we're building financial literacy and building the loan package. And so going forward, if they look like that they would benefit from the credit boost, then we're going to let them know that it exists. Going backwards, it would just really be as they're having their calls with their mentors, then we will bring it up if it's relevant. And then Joseph asks if he gets paid for it. And of course, I mean, we've already covered that. You're getting paid for it. We're doing a 50-50 split with you. So yes, sir. You're welcome, Tony. Mr. Reed's asked, can he go through himself? Sure, of course. You know, I'm not here trying to solicit you or anyone, but you know, if you meet any of these 3 criteria, that would make sense. And then, of course, if you're going through a business capital raise, the more credibility you have, the more access to capital that you would have. So this would be relevant. So we will get the page up and the material available for you. So you're able to participate yourself as Mr. Reeves asked, or as Anthony's asking now. And then also that's where you would direct people to. So this is not a change of who we are or what we do. We're just constantly looking at what are the barriers that are keeping small businesses from accessing capital. And no matter how much we want to focus on certain types of capital that are EIN only based, there are some sources of capital that underwrite off of personal credit. And so we felt that we would be remiss to not offer a quick way, a painless way, a risk-free way of boosting their scores for that purpose. But again, we're not credit repair. If you're in credit repair, don't get upset with us. You keep doing what you're doing. We're just trying to help people get a boost to improve their access to capital. All right, thanks everyone. We'll get this recording out with the resource links and we'll fire away. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye.